Right now I'm watching Gideon Tactical. He's a well-respected channel. And what I'm watching is his video on Benchmade Dacian, which I reviewed on my channel before I watched his video. Hi there, knife people. Hello, lady and gentlemen. Watching other YouTubers in your niche is a must-do for anybody who is, doing reviews. Time is of a concern because I'm working on several videos at the same time and I'm not getting any younger, so I need to exercise. I started combining my exercise activities with watching YouTube. This way, when I'm actually outdoor, I can pay attention to my surrounds, my dog, and my lovely hiking companion.
So the steel they went with is MagnaCut. And you're going to get toughness and wear resistance of CPM 4V steel, which is pretty intense. And then you're going to get stain resistance and rust resistance that you would normally see on 20 CV. So you're getting this really good balance when properly heat treating, done everything right, ladies now.
All what he just said is technically correct. And this is what's being repeated by one reviewer after another. But if you look at Dr. Loren Thomas's videos and you look at his article about MagnaCut, you will notice that he is talking about MagnaCut in a particular heat treat range. So all this toughness and edge retention happens at around 60.5 to about 63, where toughness drops off. And here you can clearly see that MagnaCut's edge retention, shown as the green line here, when it's heat treated to below 62.5-ish, is also below S35VN and CPM4Vs. And it's like a mass hypnosis. Most reviewers don't emphasize it and don't tell you about it. So all the company has to do is slap MagnaCut on the blade, and you all will go and buy it.
The one thing I always with Benchmade currently in their MagnaCut is they're doing 60-62 on the Rockwell scale.
Actually, there is nothing wrong with that, but we'll verify this number. I actually thought it was harder when the tip broke. It was overheat treated. And here's that painfully historic moment. Oh, neat. Look at that. So that's what happened. And now I'm going to continue with this video to tell you why it happened. And if you have a little time, talk about the sheath. I'm going to bring you into my, engineering world here and tell you what typically engineers do when a catastrophic failure happens like this, right? So what we do, we conduct a root cause analysis, RCA. And here on the right, we write blade failed or snapped. And it becomes a box like this. Here we put blade tested. And so this event led to this consequence. And we create what we call fishbone diagram. So we throw what potential causes of failure could have been. For example, excessive force. And that's a box. Blade too hard. So it lost its ability to resist strain. High heat treat, right? And so these are fish bones, right? And then another cause, poor geometry. Another one could be wrong steel material, wrong material. Right, so, and we go and eliminate the ones that we considered non-consequential. And we do it through calculation, analysis, modeling, simulation, or retest. So obviously I'm not going to retest it. And according to the opinion out there in the market, it's not a wrong material because it's supposed to be toughest, most edge retention capable, and corrosion resistant steel ever existed. So we're going to eliminate that just for the sake of this video. Did I apply excessive force? Let me show you a snippet from another video where I'm testing a blade made out of 420HC, definitely not super steel, the same way. That's about the depth to which I took Benchmade Dacian when it broke. So I'm going to do the same thing here. In fact, it's probably the same spot. What I'm doing is I'm wiggling it, and that's where the Dacian broke. I did not exert excessive force deliberately because I paid $270 plus taxes for this knife. So why would I do that? It's highly unlikely that excessive force was applied. Now we're going to look into, was the blade harder than it needed to be? For that, I need my leap tester. Obviously, to test the hardness, I'm going to disassemble this blade. And for that, I will need a T10. This is Work Pro, my favorite, because it's so inexpensive and a good utility kind of driver with all kinds of bits here. Link in the description. And I'm going to need this, I use that folding Allen wrench set. And we're going to need 3/16. So you're going to flip the knife on the side where the fastener in the back, that eyelet fastener, has no writing. And you're going to start unscrewing like this. You just insert it in and just unscrew it. Okay. And eventually this piece will also come out. And now you're going to use your T10 to take the front screw out. All right. And all this comes apart. Interesting bundle of features here. So I found a minor design flaw here. So when you assemble it together, this D-nut is retained not by the metal on the scale, but by this slot. So it has to fit into this. Let me show you from the bottom. It has to fit against this straightaway on this racetrack here. Obviously it comes from this direction. So if I put it in here, it freely rotates. Yeah, so it's very strange that they used micarta as the media to retain the nut. My recommendation to the viewers is do not put too much torque when you're assembling that, or you are risking damaging this slot. Yes, you have two sides to it. You can rotate it either way, 180 degrees. But eventually this may cram out. So highly recommend being gentle. Okay, so why do I think these features are here? I'll talk about it a little bit farther in the video. I'll explain why they're here and why they're shaped a certain way. First things first, I verify or validate the calibration of this device. The software is set up to calibrate it on the Hardness Lib D scale, and that's why I'm keeping it at the HL setting. So 788, it's rated right here to 787 HDL, so we're going to call it spot on. And now I'm going to reset this and test the blade. So I'm going to set that to HRC. I apply this gel. Actually, I'm not going to explain it here. I did several videos and my viewers, my subscribers had plenty of opportunities to argue advantages and disadvantages of using this device and applying incompressible fluid to ensure a better connection with the block. So feel free to leave a comment. I will probably not reply. I'd rather send you to the video where I give a full explanation of this. So let's go. I'm going to strike 5 times, and unless there are sort of weird outlier, kind of way out of the range results, I'll accept the average, as it is the case, 61.4 HRC. Benchmade advertises 60 to 62 for this knife, and this time they're in the range. That translates into 17 foot-pound toughness, which should be above S35VN, for example. Comparison knife that I showed earlier is made out of 420HC, which is not on this table. But its updated version, 154CM, is. I guess the point I'm trying to make is if 420HC did not snap, so shouldn't a properly configured MagnaCut blade. Because at 61.4 HRC, it's 230% tougher. I will have to eliminate this cause because clearly it's in a decent range for toughness, looking at Dr. Laren Thomas's table. And finally, we're going to look at the poor geometry. And by geometry, I don't mean the edge. I don't mean the geometry of the edge, the angles. I mean the geometry of this whole blade in 3 dimensions. Angles, jimping, cross-section. By cross-section, I mean this area. We're going to take a quick look at that as well. One can't talk about blades toughness without considering the geometry. And by geometry, I mean it in 3 dimensions, not just the shape, not just the bevel angle, but actual cross-sectional area is without a doubt one of the highest contributing factors to the blade's ability to resist strain, which we simply call toughness. So let's sketch it out. As soon as I looked at this under the microscope, I realized that I will need help from a metallurgist. Sorry about the scratches. I should not use that to pry out the tip from the tree, but take a look how incredibly flat the breakage surface is. That's the part that is still attached to the knife's handle. Quite amazing how it snapped in almost the flat surface. And this is the tip that I fished out. Again, there's a scratch, but the fault line is more clearly visible on this one. So if you're a metallurgist, please take a look and help me understand what could have happened here. And here's the view of the failure plane intersecting with the secondary bevel. And that made me a little suspicious about possibly knife forming a chip. So putting the 2 pieces together, that's what it looks like. Is it possible that the chip formed during the actual snapping, or was it formed before, as I was cutting these heavy-duty straps in the video? So let's talk about the sheath for a second. The idea that it was designed as a neck carry knife is erroneous for a couple of reasons. First of all, when you hang it, it will orient itself perpendicular to your body, or it will end up twisting around, and because the handle is not symmetrical, you will never know which way you're grabbing the knife. A truly neck knife designated knife is this Boker Burnley little fixed blade, and you can see they meant it for neck carry because they have 2 holes. When you run your paracord through both holes here, like so, the knife will sit flat against your body and it will not tend to twist as much. Then what is this hole there for? Allow me to demonstrate. If you, for example, attached a long lanyard to your sheath, let's call it 12 to 18 inches. Pardon me as I'm changing the camera angle here. You can then run the lanyard through your belt loop and pass the knife through it, or just the sheath, and then just clip it in the pocket like you would normally do. So now if you pull the knife, you don't care if the sheath, if you don't care if the pocket clip stays latched to your pant, because now the sheath will just come out, the knife will end up in your hand, and the sheath will be still attached to you, so you wouldn't have lost it. And you can put it back in. And while I have this knife in my hand, I want to show you that nothing is rattling on this knife. But when I put it in the sheath that came with a broken knife, with a now broken knife, I'll put it in. It rattles a little bit. To detach the whole thing from your belt loop, you just pull it out like this. And you can still easily detach this from your knife, from your sheath. There you go. All right, so if you have difficulty putting that back in because the hole is a little bit too small and you don't want to modify the sheath to make it slightly bigger, take just a piece of dental floss and maybe quadruple it, fold it twice, basically. Run it through this loop, right, and through the same side and back through here, right. Leave yourself enough room to grab on. It goes right through. So if you're a camper, you probably have a sewing kit or some kind of string. Inside the paracord, you can steal the core of the paracord, would work just fine as well. And you got yourself back on there. So in the end, I'd like to address Benchmade directly. Recently, you've been harshing my vibe in 3 different ways. First of all, your prices became outrageous. I understand other brands had to raise prices because of the tariff war with China, but you are not buying your stuff in China. You're using American-made materials or maybe steels made in Europe, so you shouldn't be affected by the same plague of tariffs as the other companies. Second, you are seeking advice from the wrong people as far as the performance or end user experience. You're giving a knife to a REI employee who is a hiker, an avid, excellent hiker, wilderness instructor. But what does he know about knives? You give it to him, he'll hike with it and say, okay, you know, could be a little grippier or less slippery, you know. That's all you're going to get. The performance of your knives has to match the custom knife maker prices that you're charging. You need to seek out people who like live and breathe knives. Then, so that's the second way. And the third way, you lately started sending knives to reviewers who've been dissing your brand for years. And not only dissing it, but they would be like showing a Benchmade and say, you can buy this Benchmade for $370, or you can buy this Chinese knife that does the same thing from my affiliate link for $175. So what you've become, it's a price ceiling for Chinese brands. So your margin is their competitive edge. You need to rethink that. What gives me the right to talk to you like this? I'll show you. This is my entire Spyderco collection. This is my entire ZT and Kershaw collection. And here's my Benchmade collection. Sorry. Here are the fixed blades. Here are first production knives. Reflection is getting me. Here is my gold cloth and limited edition or exclusive collection. And here the Benchmade designer collaboration. Mel Purdue, Osborne, Bob Lom, etc. Here's my out collection. Bug outs, tagged outs, water, and freaks, the Hunt series knives. And here are a couple narrows, actually on 3. and the full set of serial number matched infidels. The aluminum 710, you saw the gold class and the limited in the other case. And just various Benchmades that I like. And on the bottom here is my tactical bunker blood class knives, which includes 8 knives from Adamas family, while seemingly talking smack about Benchmade. The principle of loyalty to the brand is not just blind following. The principle of loyalty to a brand is caring of where they're going. And where you're going is going to end up in the wrong place. Just listen, put your ear to the ground and listen to the grassroots. Your brand is becoming disconnected. So if you don't trust your pocket clip when you yank it out,